Whiskey 3 Alpha Papa Alpha.
There's about 6 stations there. I'm going to go to my local antenna and see who I can copy. This is KC9VKV. Try it again, please.
Whiskey 3 Alpha Papa Alpha.
There was one station that ended in Alpha.
Yeah. Alpha Papa Alpha. Whiskey 3 Alpha Papa Alpha. QSL?
Oh, Roger, Roger. What's the name there, sir?
Tony. Tony, we talked, I had a 1200 Yaesu, 12/7/18, almost a year ago. And I enjoyed that conversation, and now I just got this 5000 Yaesu MP 5000 Limited with the SM 5000 monitor on the top. And I'm very curious. This one's 200 watts. The other one was only 100. Very curious to hear how I sound over the airways. Back to you.
Roger, Roger. Well, that 5000 is just a beautiful radio, and I'm copying you in my co-phase position on my two 10-foot magnetic loop antennas in the co-phase mode, and it looks to be about 12 dB over my noise level. Audio seems to be about 3 dB dynamic range, just about perfect there, and the equalization has a nice cut to it. So all in all, Tony, I would say that radio is in good shape and ready to go.
Oh, well, thank you. You're so kind. Yeah, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Believe me, I talked to, they just had all that DX stuff over the weekend, and I made a whole bunch of contacts, and this is leaps and bounds. The receive on this radio, in fact, I got laryngitis. I talk so much. And so it's got this, the receive is just leaps and bounds over that 1200 from what I had as far as listening. And then it's got a built-in power supply. If you're familiar with the radio, you know, and it's just dual receive. I can monitor 2 frequencies. In fact, I can listen, put headsets on, one station in one ear, the other station in the other ear, which is, that'll make you crazy. But yeah, I just love it. I'm just learning how to use it. I've only had it for about a week now, and I'm just enjoying the heck out of it there. Back to you, Jim.
Roger, Tony. Now, if you really want to challenge your brain, go to, well, let's see, gosh, trying to figure out how to do this. If you can, I guess, can you monitor one as you transmit on the other?
I can. There's a monitor button. I got a headset on now. I can hear myself talking, and if that's what you mean by listening to what I'm saying, over.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you could listen to an SDR as you transmit, and try to hold yourself together as you speak with about a half-second latency.
Okay, I hear you, but how do I do that, over?
Well, let's see, if you were transmitting on this frequency, well, I guess, you know, I get sometimes ahead of myself because I have this magic rotary switch, and I have my SDRs coming back on this rotary switch plus my receiver, and they all come together, you know, and I don't even think about what one is and what the other isn't. It's just the, you know, which one is the cleanest. And I was just thinking, if you could monitor your signal off one of the SDRs as you transmitted, I guess you would maybe have to use some kind of a way to monitor your computer audio on one of those SDRs as you transmitted, and find one that had about a half-second latency, a half-second difference in coming back to you from what you spoke. And so you're getting this half-second delay of your voice coming back to you, and it's almost impossible to continue to speak logically.
Like an echo chamber. Okay, there's a net I log into on 2 meters, and if I have my echo link on, and this is funny, and key up with the radio or vice versa, it just, I'll hear, like if I say echo, 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 echo until it fades away. Is that what you're referring to, Over?
Right. This isn't actually repeating. It's just a latency of half a second. It's not repeating itself. It's not echoing, but it's just repeating what you say a half second late. So if you have that half second late audio return in your ear as you speak, it's impossible to speak because your mind is just too distracted by the delay. But anyway, that's just one of those things. When I'm monitoring one of the SDRs, when I back off the key, if I'm on an SDR, sometimes, depending on the latency, I can almost hear my last whole sentence, Roger.
Oh, okay. Well, when I worked for Bell South, Verizon, they had echo cancelers. Yeah, I know what you mean. There's sort of like a time delay there. I don't know what, how many nanoseconds or, half a 0.5 seconds or whatever. But yeah, I've heard that in the phone when we tested stuff. You could actually hear you'd say something, then you'd hear it again. It was like you were talking into a acoustically perfect room and hear your sound bounce back off the wall. Over.
Roger. Well, this would be maybe a large room because it would take a quarter second to get there and bounce and a quarter second to return. So, but, as long as we're talking about delays and you were talking about the telephone company there, what I want to know, and maybe you could enlighten me, is that, most cell phone phones are actually, instead of duplex communications, they're actually dual simplex. And I'm just wondering what that means is that only one person can actually talk at one time, and you both can't talk and be heard by each other. And I just wondered how they decided that dual simplex would solve the problem instead of actual, dualplex or two-way communication simultaneously.
Well, it's a good question. I don't know how they solved it. I'm not an engineer. We did the basic, like when I come out with all these, they were running out of phone numbers. And I worked in, we put in echo cancelers, different things, but mostly what I did, we worked at night in the offices and pulled the cards and put in the SIMs and DIMs, if you know what they are, memory chips. And if they were just, pushed in sockets, we could just pull them out, put them in, and then run it through Unix, through all these phases, and hope it came out all TP, all test pass. And if not, we'd slap the card out, slap it back in, and let daylight worry about it. But that's basically what we did. And as far as all that engineering stuff there, that's a little above my pay grade. Over.
Roger. Well, I guess what it is that they can get two conversations on one. I guess it's dual simplex line instead of having to have being able to do two conversations simultaneously. It's just one and a switch back and forth. But to me, I probably am the only person that still has copper. I'm probably the only person that still has a real landline. And I've been a dedicated customer for many, many years of that copper landline, probably more so than what I should have, because for many of those years, well, it started out, if it rained, the line would start to hum. And it stayed humming for quite a while after it ceased raining. And then after a while, it started humming just if it looked like it was going to rain. So, but like I say, I have been a dedicated copper person for many years, Roger.
Well, you're not the only one. I have that runs on 48 to 52 volts, because I've worked in those offices with, they have backup batteries in case power goes out. I mean, they look like those 5-gallon water containers that you polarize water you put on home dispensers, if you know what I'm saying, with the lead and zinc and just all in parallel. And I still have I still have my original phone, copper. I won't let them change it. And it used to be, like the area code's 412, but it used to be the phone number before they did all that. Like Braddock was Brandywine something. Ours was Hobart 63509. And I can remember all that stuff, you know, from way back in the 50s and that, when they had party lines. We used to, as kids, we used to unscrew the speaker, you know, that you talk into off the phone, and then pick it up so the people on the other line wouldn't hear the click, and we used to eavesdrop over.
Oh, roger that, roger that. But on this copper line now, they have just brought fiber optics in back of the house here. And so I'm getting really tempted. You know, I'm sure the latency in fiber optics is much quicker, less latency in fiber optics than you know, the regular internet line that they use, voice over IP. So it's really getting tempted now to go ahead and go to fiber optics, Roger.
Yeah, copy that. Well, what you can do, you can tell them, leave your copper line up, and you can still, then they'll put a separate box in, and you can get the fiber optics. But, yeah, don't let them take your copper line down. Once they do that, you'll never get it back. Over.
Roger that. Roger that. Well, Tony, I've enjoyed it, sir. Let me say threes to you up there. Thanks for checking in, and we will be posting this within a couple of days up to YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll be looking for a Qso entitled My Group Air Check 11/1/19, which is today's date. My Group Air Check 11/1/19, Roger?
Yeah, copy that. Believe it or not, I was just listening. A gentleman friend of mine told me about, he heard you on the air, because I forgot all about you. That was a year ago almost. And I remember I stored it in my computer, but I couldn't remember what it was called. Group, you know, air check. You gave me your call letters. I punched it in my computer and brought it up, and I was just listening to myself here when I had my 1200. And it was my group air check 12/7/18, and I'm in about I don't know, 32 seconds or 32 minutes into the Qso. I was just how do you say it, scanning the bands and heard you. And back then you said you were on frequency 189, and today I heard you doing tests. I figured it was you, and then when I heard your name, I knew it was you. So I stuck around and you know. Anyways, I'm going to stick around here and listen to who else checks in here. And it's been a pleasure, Jim. So we'll catch you when we catch you. Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. This is Whiskey 3, Alpha Papa Alpha, Tony in 12 miles south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We'll be clear with you.
Roger, Roger, Tony. Well, we were on 7189, and we do have the RV service nets above us and below us. And we were closer on 79 to the RV service net on 7191. So being a good neighbor, I just dropped one KC to kind of split the difference between these two RV service net networks. So anyway, threes to you there, and you have a real good afternoon and a great weekend, Tony, and we'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and this is Jim, known in some circles as Dr. VKV. And if you have a radio you want to check out, we are recording now live till 5, KC9VKV.